Hey guys, so this is going to be a two-part series about something that I was actually going to tell you a couple of weeks ago, and then something happened to my phone. Um, this two-part series is about body image and basically my struggles with who I was during high school and just recently actually. Um, the first thing I'm gonna talk to you about is eating disorders. I was kind of in the in crowd during high school, and so, I had friends and I had people I could always talk to, and there was something that I was hiding from everyone. I actually completely stopped eating. Just totally stopped. I wouldn't eat at all. And when I did eat, I actually started, at one point, I started to make myself throw up. And I was to the point where if I wasn't going to accept help, it was going to kill me. It started around the middle of my freshman year. I noticed that I was getting a little bit heavier than the other girls that I was hanging out with, and the cheerleaders and the girls that I was doing ballet with, and the people I was doing ice skating with, and I was so unhappy with myself. And I didn't know what to do. I tried diet and exercise. I tried, doing that jazzercise with my stepmom, and I was just doing all these different things, and it seemed like the weight would go away, but it would come right back. And one of my friends came up to me one day, and she's like, if you do this, it'll help. Like, people would give me advice, and I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to be the person that I was. And things were starting to kind of get out of control at that point. And I was so scared that I was just going to be fat, and I was going to be ugly, and I was going to, get to the point where I was just going to be a hermit, and so I started, I told my stepmom and dad, I'm not going to eat meat anymore. I want to be a vegetarian. And they're like, okay, well, my dad was kind of iffy about it. My dad's a deer hunter, and he loves his meat and everything else. Well, he saw how happy I was, how, I would eat fish now and again, and I would have sushi because I love sushi. That's one thing I can never give up. But I would eat sushi here and again, but, I was actually seeing the weight drop, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. So my stepmom, she was like, there's this recipe that I've been wanting to try for you, because I would make my own dinner, and then my stepmom would make the dinner for her, my dad, and my little brother. Well, sometimes we would eat the things that I wanted to eat, like the vegetarian meals, and we would have grilled portobello mushrooms and just stir fries without any meat. Just, it had tofu and all these different vegetables, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Well, like I said, I saw the weight dropping, and a lot of people were noticing it, especially in my face. And I was so happy. I'm like, this is awesome. Well, at one point, I stepped on the scale and I started gaining the weight back again. And I'm like, this can't happen anymore. So every time I would eat, I would go make myself throw up. And at first, like, it really sucked. Because, like, I would go, after dinner, me and my brother would always take our showers and then get ready for bed because we would go to school the next morning. And I like to go to bed early because, like, when I got home from practice and come home, I'd be, like, just ready to crash. So we would eat dinner, and me and my brother would, like I said, go and take our showers and everything else. Well, I would turn the faucet on, and I would make it sound like I was taking a shower, because our bathroom was down, like, all the way on the basement floor. That's where we would take our showers, unless I had the urge to take a bath. But the first night, it was a Tuesday night, and I stuck my finger down my throat, and I felt like the weight was just coming off. But at first I was just like, I really hate this. I hate the way it makes me feel. So I kind of tried not to do it, but at the same time I was just like, I know I need to do it. So I was like, I asked my stepmom to take me to my doctor's, and she took me to my doctor's, and I asked him, I was just like, all this weight that I've been losing and gaining, is there anything that I could do, like dietary supplements or something like that? Because I told him, I was just like, he was the guy that I actually went to and asked about becoming a vegetarian, because he's a nutritionist and a doctor. He's got both degrees, so he can help with teenage problems and stuff like that. And he's like, well, there's this new dietary supplement, it's over the counter, but I don't recommend it for you because you're trying to lose weight and keep it off, and all the over the counter stuff does is get rid of water weight. Those things are the worst thing for you because of how much caffeine is in them and everything else. So I was just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Well, he got me on this diet plan and this exercise plan. But like I said, I was doing ballet I would wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I would drive to my ballet studio, practice for an hour and a half, and then shower, get ready for school, go to school, have during the first half of our semester, I was doing cheerleading and cross country. And then I did basketball my freshman and sophomore year, and cheerleading and competition. And then during spring, I was doing competition cheerleading at Heather's studio, and then I was also doing track. So I was never home. The earliest I ever got home was like 6 or 7 o'clock. And so at one point I was just ready to just give up on this whole endeavor of trying to lose weight. And then I started, like, getting these thoughts in my head saying, if you eat, you're disgusting. So for lunch, I wouldn't eat. Like, I would, during our lunch periods, especially during, like, my junior and senior year, we were allowed to go outside. Well, I would bring, like, carrots and broccoli and things like that, and I would munch on those just to curb the hunger pains that I would have. And at one point, I was like, I saw the weight dropping and I saw how great I felt. Well, my stepmom started noticing something wasn't right because I started getting really moody and really angry all the time. She would ask me if I wanted to eat and I would snap. I would literally just tell her how dare she even ask if I wanted to eat, and she thought, I'm a teenage girl, I'm going through problems. She didn't pick up on it. Well, as I saw the weight dropping, I went from 120 pounds to 115 to 110 to 100 pounds in like a month. And I was so weak, and I was at a competition for ice skating, and I did a jump, a regular jump, a lux, not even a double lux. A lux is one of the easiest jumps that you could possibly maneuver, and I fell, and I messed up my knee pretty bad. And my stepmom noticed that my legs were really skinny. I was having to get smaller sizes for my leotards, for my ballet dresses, for my costumes for ice skating, my actual clothes. She was just starting to notice this, and she noticed that I was in like almost a double zero during high school, and she took me to the doctors, and it was a Thursday. We went that Thursday, and he comes in, and he asked my stepmom to leave, and he's talking to me, and I told him, I was like, nothing's wrong, I'm just losing weight. And he's like, no, you're doing it unhealthy. And I was just so scared that he was going to say something. I was just like, I promise I'll gain the weight back. And, giving empty promises to a doctor, So he told my stepmom that I was anemic, which I was, and that I needed to go on iron supplements, and so he put me on iron supplements, and he about a month later, this was during my junior year of high school, a month later, I was in school, and I went on a binge not a binge, but I went on a kick for almost 3 weeks where I wasn't eating anything at all. I was only drinking water. And we were allowed to have water bottles and stuff with us in our classroom, so I was drinking water a lot. And I was walking down the stairs to go to my art class, and I passed out. The ambulance were called. They took me to the hospital. They said that I was very dehydrated. Even though I was drinking a lot of water, I didn't realize that water isn't enough to hydrate you. And then they attached me to a breathing machine because when I fell, because of how skinny I was, one of my ribs cracked, and it actually punctured one of my lungs, and my lungs collapsed. So they had me on a breathing machine, and I was a mess. And when my stepmom came in, I just broke down. I didn't know what to do, and I just told her, I'm so sorry. And so after I got out of the hospital a week later, I had my stepmom take me to a rehab treatment place to help. I didn't know what to do. Like, I was so scared. And I was finally through with hurting myself. It was to the point where I was just so sick and scared, and I never wanted to do that to myself again, and I was just, I was so scared. So scared. And I was getting better, you know, and my senior year I was about the same weight that I am now. And I just I was so happy, and then I went to college, and now that I'm getting married, being somebody that sees herself as fat, I got really scared. I tried on my dress the first time, and it fit perfectly. They were able to hook it. Well, they had to resize it by just a little bit, because on the sides my boobs aren't that big, so they had to take it in a little bit. Well, they weren't able to hook it, so I stopped eating again for about 2 weeks. And I was just like, one day I was with my fiance and his dad at the mall down in Columbus, and I was just like, what the hell are you doing, Tammy? Why are you doing this to yourself? And we ordered Panda Express, and I ate that whole entire thing. And I'm still struggling a little bit. Like, it's hard, especially because we don't have, like, we either have junk food or we have oatmeal. So I eat a lot of oatmeal and all that stuff. But at one point, I've come to terms with my illness, because a lot of people are like, oh, she has an eating disorder, you know, she's stupid, or she needs help. But exactly, a person that has an eating disorder needs help. And I have so many people around me that surround me with love and kindness, and I'm at that point right now where I'm still struggling, because it is a mental disorder. It's once it latches onto you, it doesn't let go. It's like doing drugs. And I'm not talking about marijuana or anything like that. I'm talking about cocaine and meth and ecstasy and crack. Once you get hooked onto something, your mindset is always on that, and it just holds on to you. So basically, at this point of my life, I'm still struggling. I still need to go see a therapist for that and other things. And so I encourage you guys, if anybody is out there that has something like this, to get help. It's a deadly disease. I don't know if you've ever seen pictures or seen videos online of these women that are so skinny. That's why modeling nowadays don't even want skinny girls, because they're afraid that a girl is going to look at that picture and say, I want to be like her, and then end up killing themselves. Because at one point, I was down to 93 pounds, and if I would have went down any lower, it would have killed me. I would have been so malnourished, I would have been so dehydrated, I would have been sick. And the day that I fell is a godsend for me. And now, thinking back, I wouldn't give anything up for the world to change who I was. Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't be who I am today. And I just encourage you guys to stay strong. I want you guys to do me a favor. After you're done watching this one, and then part 2 of this. There is a documentary on MTV. It's called Stay Strong. It's a documentary about Demi Lovato, about her struggles of her eating disorder and self-mutilation. And some of the things that she says is just, it hits home so much for me. And I just encourage you guys to be strong and to love yourself for who you are, no matter what. And know that God loves you and your family loves you and they don't want to lose you. I almost lost my life because of this. And I don't want you guys to have to go through what I went through. I'm 23 years old and I went through this when I was 14. I had just turned 14 when all this started. That's almost 10 years, you know? So I encourage you guys to be strong and to love your body for who you are. Your imperfections are more beautiful than your perfections, and I promise you that. I hope to see you guys in my second video. I love you, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.